I'm not so sure I want to grow up anymore.
Growing up is not the problem. Forgetting is.
Getting older is weird. Human beings love the youngness and purity too much. Life is better as a tree. And I feel so ugly preaching. These are not the best years that you will ever live. You know when you're a child and they say these are the best years that you're ever going to live, that you have to cherish these years and make the most of it because these will be the best years of your life, and afterwards it only goes downhill from there. That is so very reassuring to tell to young children. If you feel bad now, good luck, it's never gonna get better than this. Then even as you get older, elderly age, then it's like, yes, now you're deteriorating. And life is nothing but the slow deterioration and the purity that you once had when you were a child. Children are weird. Children are lovely, obviously, but being a child, you have to treat children with respect, while also looking at yourself as a child and wondering what in the world was that. People tend to glamorize childhood. I don't think childhood is something necessarily to be glamorized or seen as the peak of being a human being. These are not the best years that you will ever live. To say that every human being's best years of their life are at the exact same time is to generalize to the point of washing out the uniqueness of the human condition. The best years of your life will be a smattering of a bunch of different moments scattered across all of the years. And when you condense them together, maybe it just makes a couple of years that are the best. You know the feeling when you go and you see a tree that is really, really old and you actually look at the bark and you see all of the different ridges and spots, the little eyes where the branches once were, and then they fell off, and then they have just the marks of all the life that the tree has lived is just scattered all over the bark. And if you look crazy, so you can see exactly, okay, what are the conditions this tree grew up in. You can look at the rings and see what exactly was the temperature and the conditions like then. You can look at a tree and you just see all of the life that has lived, in the scars and the rot, the growth, despite that. Not even despite that, because of that. Well, that's what makes the trees that are hundreds of years old so beautiful, and yet we look at ourselves. Okay. Don't know what that is. Looks a little looks a little interesting though, I guess. But we look at ourselves, we have this sort of closeness to some sort of divinity that just decreases as we age. For every sign of quote-unquote deterioration or change that any creature goes through is just a sign of all of the life that they lived and all of the love that they had. Love as a low. I think life would be a better definition, just because life happens regardless of what you do. Life is life, and the more you live, the more you ferment as a person, the more you marinate as a person, you become more flavorful, more alive, I think, the older you. You simply are a collection of meanings that you've attributed from the outside world and the experiences that you've had. As you grow older, you collect more things and you become more of a collection, and that is something beautiful. I don't think that we should decrease the legitimacy of things that young people say, but I don't think we should say that old people's lives are no longer full of promise or worthiness of living. At the end of the day, we are all people, we are all different collections collecting in different things. A person who is younger might have spent more time learning something in a specific field than someone who's older and spent more time learning a bunch of different things. You want to be creative? Well, guess what? In order to be creative, you take from your experiences and you make them real and whole, and You share your experience and allow people to make their meanings of your own experience, and that is interesting and something to unravel, I guess. But no, as you get older, you are able to share. You have more experience to share from, and I don't know. There's hope to be had. There's joy to be had.
You better slow down or I might go insane. I have this bad feeling I won't feel the same, so
I don't entirely understand entropy just yet, and it's one of those things I'd like to understand while still not having to take an entire physics class. Entropy being that order becomes disorder. It's strange that we idolize order so much. Because I remember watching this one like Veritism video, and it was like, life is simply just the easiest way to increase entropy, increase the chaos. And I think chaos is like, oh yes, order is blah blah blah, who cares? Chaos is more fun, it's more alive than order is, I think. Chaos is the ability to, philosophical terms, you can't philosophicalize the physics. It depends on what you do, it's just interpretation. Physics as a metaphor, not as an interpretation of what physics is, but just as a metaphor, just for funsies. Chaos is more fun. Chaos is like a force. Chaos is the ability to allow things to exist and see what wonderful things it might hold when you just let things be rather than trying to resist what things want to be. Time is simply the ability to become more of life, become more chaotic. For every sign of aging that you show on your face is just the sign that you've lived. The smile lines are signs that you've smiled a lot. Worry lines are signs that you worried a lot, and maybe you worried for good reason. That still makes you an interesting. But the older you get, the more interesting you become, the more rich you become as a person.